So Craig, I want to ask you, we live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know what we need to focus on and how to keep our creativity to a level that we can actually contribute to the people we're around.
Yeah.
I'd love to ask, how do you find your creative spirit? Where do you find it?
Yeah.
How do you access it? And do you know what kind of elements you want to put into that creativity that'll help your clients and yourself?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I think creativity is so important in the world we live in today. So, a little bit more specific. So I think you can drive creativity, I think, for having great ideas.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And I think, sometimes you go, well, that's all very well. But I think sometimes when you're working with people, even in family life ever, just throw fresh ideas in there, right?
Sure.
Even if it's just like, let's get everyone in a room, let's share some ideas. There'll be a nugget in there.
Yeah,
right?
Most definitely.
Get spurred up. Get some creativity going, can often lead to a better customer experience, etc., etc. And then I think it's just, addressing, if I said to you, what is Renier really good at?
Yeah.
Because often we're going, and then you go, okay, so I love people, I love relationships. You go, so, and I'm not so good on some of the detail stuff. And you go, well, if I want to be creative, maybe I should find some people around me that I can unlock, be focused on what I'm good at, and their talents way surpass mine. So I've looked at this whole thing about, surround yourself with your who's.
Sure, yeah.
And it's another mechanism for me about, and even when you're coaching people, and we're not focusing on that now, but it's a case of identify what your strengths are.
Love it.
And don't feel like, I got to say, don't focus on your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths. Be creative by finding people that can unlock your impossible dream.
Love it. I think just to add to that, what I love to look in creativity and how to access it is, one of my strengths is being super curious.
Yeah.
Is
beautiful.
Like, traditionally, I wouldn't say I'm super creative, but my curiosity creates that creativity because I get to absorb so much. So I'm always asking questions. I'm always getting into positions that are super uncomfortable, super unpredictable, and I challenge a lot. So that challenge and curiosity helps my creativity because that's what it really is. It's not sticking and conforming to a set line. It's looking around you and really exploring that creativity within yourself. Yeah.
And listen, I'm a customer to FTC, company that you run, and you guys are also helping me with my creativity.
Love it.
So, and the team is challenging me and giving me ideas. So again, it's also sometimes you can have partnerships in business that are aiding your business. And that for me is something really special about, my investing time with South African businesses, which is, again, this 12 to 18 months of
beautiful.
There's great talent here, people, it can touch the world. I want to be part of that. And I'm just loving it, to be honest.
No, fabulous. Has it reinvigorated your love for South Africa?
It has. 26 years here, 27 years not. But, I was only going for 2 years. But, it's where your heart remains.
Sure.
And then something can unlock on you. You go, I want to give and I want to make this a part of.
Yeah.
And genuinely committed to it.
Love it.
Yesterday I met someone, going off piste a bit, been a coach for 30 years, has had a very, very successful business here. But she asked me a very interesting question. She said, what do you think of Africa? And I just said, I think it's got untapped potential.
Most definitely.
Everywhere's got its problems.
Yeah.
Because she, grew up for 18 years in the UK and spent the next 30 years here. What she wanted to hear was I interested in Africa?
Nice. Yeah.
And I didn't, was like, there's a wow factor here.
Definitely.
And there's wow factors all over the world, but if we can harness it together, that's creativity, right?
Yeah.
Relationships for me, because my unique is relationships. I'm able to leave the room with the relationship.
Definitely.
So
there's another question I'd love to ask. I'm very conscious and very sensitive to energy.
Yeah.
Right? And relationships, and whenever I go into a room, I try and always have a very positive, big energy that attracts the same type of energy. And I'm a very firm believer that whatever energy you portray, you're going to definitely attract. So when you're looking at relationships, do you always kind of, is it maybe an unconscious thing or conscious thing that you look for?
I think for me, it's probably over the years become increasingly unconscious.
Sure.
Because you're best to be who you are. But there's often a challenge. I've been a consultant for most of my life, which is, you try to sell an outcome, right? Sometimes people don't want to pay for that outcome, so monetizing it is a challenge. But if you can actually start, and I've learned this probably in the last 5 years, if you can start shifting from, I'm not necessarily here to do a hard sell. What I'm trying to show you is that relationships matter. Together we could create something better for your company, for your team. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And that's helping me, so part of small team that I've got, how do you want me to leave this meeting? And I'll go, just leave with a relationship.
Love it.
5 years ago, I wouldn't have said that because I've also been in environments where you just got to sell.
Sure.
But I'm actually more of a practitioner. I want to be working with, learning with, ensuring things are delivered, and being creative with the team.
So I love that. I'm a super firm believer of that, and I mean it's even on my LinkedIn tagline. I believe that one relationship can change everything.
Yeah.
Change your life, change your business.
Yeah. I loved that post. I mean, that must have been 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And just we all take LinkedIn. There's a power in LinkedIn, right? There's 1 billion users on it, but in actual fact, you've got to give. It's not what LinkedIn can do for you. It's what you're doing and what you're doing for people.
Most definitely.
And once you shift in mindset like that, it's not a tool. It's just how you're trying to influence and help.
Most definitely. It's that value you give. People can smell if you're trying to sell to them. It's very, very apparent. But if you come with a giving mindset and you want to just see someone do better once you've left from the post or an interaction or relationship, people on the field and they feel it, and then they want to then support you and do business with you.
But I love what that, because going back to our always golf piece of it was, you said, only one relationship that matters, and we all go, I've got 5,000 followers, in actual fact, you just got one that can be the one.
I mean, I'll tell you a story. We when we started this journey, we had this one relationship that activated in Singapore, and it tripled our business within a month. It was it was just incredible. And that relationship has now cascaded into years-long business. And it's helped us build what we have. And that's one key person. So if everyone can just, look at their network and not focus on hundreds of people. Yes, you still have to have relationships, but knowing that one person can change everything. That's when you give the actual attention to the people that you're around. Because it'll come apparent when that person comes into your life. Very, very cool. Craig, I'd love to ask you about, coaching. I'll give you a bit of story about coaching in our business. So I'll tell you our story, then I'll follow up with a question.
Right? Absolutely.
So I feel, especially in whichever business we're in, we're about people. People are the things that are working the business, activating it, and I see business as a sport. It's very much like a sport. It's a game. You either enjoy playing it or you don't, and in sport, you have certain coaches if you want to become professional. So in my mind, if you want to become a professional business with professional people, you need to get people that can help you get to that level. Because as entrepreneurs, we have this tunnel vision, and we don't know what we don't know, and we're very, we're in the trenches. So I feel as though coaches, every business should have coaches, but not just one coach, but multiple coaches, because they all specialize in certain aspects of the business, and those coaches are key to help transform and educate and level up your people, because those are really our assets that we work with. And it's helped our business significantly. It's helped change mindset. A lot of our coaches focus on health, on wealth, on showing up, on there's a lot of things that we can go into,
all the dimensions.
I mean, us as a business, we have 3 coaches that coach our staff, and I think it's imperative that every business, doesn't matter if you're service based or product based, that you do have coaches that can actually level you up. And it's going to be a lot more apparent going into the future, because people are going to be more unique. There's going to be a lot more problems, and I feel it's just something that a business should have. You in the coaching element, you must see this every day where you're transforming people's lives. I'd love to just know maybe a case study from yourself.
Look, I won't bring any particular clients in, but what I will say is, first off, I'd say you can use a case study of FDC.
Yeah.
So what a great leader in you the organization's got, because the number one for you is your people. And what you're doing is you want those people to feel like they're being invested in so that they can be their very best. That's what coaching tries to unlock. But it will unlock other things. It could make you great at work, but it'll give you some perspective on your life outside of work, your health, all that balance that I call it, is going to create an energized person. I mean, you and I both know someone with a positive mindset coming into your office is surely going to be more productive than someone who's just showing up.
Most definitely.
Because I've just shown up on some days, and I know that I'm not at my best. So that's where, and when you experience that positive gift, which you did in a time in your life, you just want that for all your people. Then I could go into a opposite case study of client comes to me, we've got to simplify our technology. Can you help us with some automation and some digitization of what we're doing? Yeah, of course we can. Do you want to talk about your people and how we can help them capability and mindset to make that even better journey? There might be, we're not interested in that. Can you so you've got to start sometimes. So I've got the whole where I'm trying to go with 30 years of consulting, but in actual fact, people have always been at the center of everything I've done. Coaching has transformed my life, brought that into a business. So now I like to talk about what I call the 3 C's. So we can talk about, I don't like the word consulting, but it's how I can transform your business and your people. But coaching and creative, which is about, your vision and where you're going with your brand. The combination of all of that. But to your point in your question, because again, we're going a little bit off piste, there's no real recipe. But if you can get a light bulb to go on that your people are the most important thing, I think that's the recipe, and coaching can give you that gift.
Most definitely.
And when you've experienced it yourself, because I experienced it 18 months ago in something that unlocked on me, and it's a horrible thing. It's actually a great thing. It's positive when you realize for 10 years, I've been waiting for something to happen, not making it happen. That's what coaching can do. And when you're
sometimes when you takes that external perspective, an external individual to show you. We're so busy being busy, and so busy trying to do what we think is right. Sometimes we don't know. This is why also I say reading books and listening to podcasts also helps, and that's a form of coaching in a way, because people put out the information in a hope that you absorb it and think of some things very differently. So it's exactly that. You're on a journey, and the coach sometimes just puts you on the right path where you should be going. Because if you didn't have that, you're going in the completely wrong direction.
Well, I mean, we're seeing business leaders now. I mean, Stephen Bartlett, we're seeing them being some of the world's greatest influencers. We're seeing them with powerful businesses, but you actually don't even know what their business is anymore. And they just want other people to be successful. So the demographic of commerce, if you want to call it that, is changing. But not for everyone. But they can happen at any time in your life, and you can go, that's what I want to be part of, and work with businesses like that. And, to your point, keeping that lens on people and the benefits that coaching can bring is phenomenal.
Definitely. A lot of the staff I speak to that go through the coaching.
I mean, you've seen the benefits in your own company. Everyone I've worked with in your business is super energized.
Love it. I think that's what we want to portray. If a client comes into our environment, that they also feel like, wow, this is a good energy. I want to be here. I want to do things.
Or can I get some of that?
can I actually get some of that? Because I want to experience that. I want to execute it.
Yeah.
And you can choose. You can choose to be positive. You can choose to be negative. It's a choice.
Yeah.
So if I can help people choose the positive and the energized way, beautiful.
That's where you and I are very similar, because in the business I'm trying to run, and from the coaching perspective, a lot of it's about helping with mindset. And it's actually helping to train where you can shift. Bad thing happens. Put your lens on what you're trying to achieve to get you very quickly out of that negative, because we all experience it.
Yeah.
Bad days, bad months, bad relationships,
Definitely.
whatever. But arguably you go, well, what do I actually want the outcome to be? Very often the choice will not be a negative one. Therefore, you'll choose different actions to make you feel different, and it will create different outcomes, which are usually, I would like to think, positive.
Definitely. Mindset's so important. It can make and break any situation or company. And I feel, if we can just strive to have that, even a different mindset, challenged all the time. I do love that, because we don't, as I said, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you must, had difficult times.
Oh, yeah.
Give me, just, not anything's too specific, but how's it helped you, with some of the challenges?
I'll go back a few years where it was super challenging. This was maybe before COVID hit, and I was burning out. It was getting to a point that I was actually burnt out, and my mindset was all external factors affecting me. But I soon realized, and there was a podcast that I listened to that helped me with this bit of mindset change, and it was the decisions that I was making. I was going to bed late. I was playing video games. I was not exercising as I should. And it's those choices that I was making that was actually affecting. So I was the common denominator. And if I just change my mindset a bit to actually, if I focus on my energy, it'll change the energy that I'm outputting and into the business. And that was a good change for me.
So I love that. You were committing to yourself.
Because, if I show up half energy at 40%, how do I expect to lead a team of 70 plus people?
Well, Madeline told me it's difficult to be near you when you're on the phone, because there's a lot of energy.
I work in the office with my wife, and she has to have noise blocking, because she'll even sit there. If she doesn't have her earphones on, I'll come onto a meeting. Hey, how's it going? And then she gets scared because of this initial energy, and she literally has to have noise blocking earphones on just to be sane. My Dashan doesn't mind too much. She just looks at me. But it's every meeting I show up to, I'll have a high energy.
But also, going back to, one of my core values, being curious. I mean, it even goes to that creativity thing. Being curious is just
definitely.
And one of the things I learned from a coach of mine was, just ask amazing questions. That's curiosity, right? But that can be everything you bring into business as well. And ask an amazing question. It just can create that innovation, that creative thinking.
Definitely. I think curiosity is key, because if you have a team that's curious, because they're not scared of failing the whole time and being reprimanded just for every single failure, that also diminishes curiosity if you don't have the space to be curious. So I think that's key also to building businesses, to create a curious staff base that want to ask questions, want to challenge, want to do things differently, because that's how you find out what not to do, is by being curious. Because education doesn't just stop with university, No.
In fact,
curious beings.
In fact, that it's ongoing.
It's ongoing. University is the tip of the iceberg. You have to have a curious mindset going into it, because you'll win if you have a curious mindset.
No, I read this with Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO, and that was to master something you need to teach it. And that really resonated with me. As I'm trying to master something, you've got to be the practitioner. You've got to be, to be the coach. You've got to be the practitioner. You've got to be teaching it. And, the point is, therefore, I love the ethos of any coaching should try make you that coach too. because that's a gift you can then pass on to others around you.
Yeah, most definitely.
But it's not for everyone. But I think it's a great sort of lens to have on things.
Love that. In my life, I've got, and I'm sure this is with you as well, we have so many projects on board. There's so many things pulling and pushing, and where we are. Balance is a big thing. Because if you tilt a certain way, you go off axis and you fall over.
Yeah.
And how do you maintain your balance and harmony? And I'll tell you how I do it afterwards. But I'd love to know, because you're also an exceptionally busy individual. You have a lot of things at play. You have a lot of things pulling and pushing. How do you maintain that?
It's a great question. And I think for me, it's been that acknowledgement of balance is not just about work. And sometimes to balance, you have to be imbalanced, which is a bit of a contradiction in terms. So what I mean by that is, I think when you've got a lens on your family life, your friends, your health, and your work, and how you're managing that, I think that's an important aspect of having what sometimes I call a dream, and different aspects of that to drive you. Sometimes balance can mean you have to be committed at work, and it means you're on a bit of a seesaw. But as long as everyone on that seesaw with you is quite aware of where you're having to, because balance, I think, is more than just you. It's people around you. I mean, I've probably at the moment working harder than I've worked in a lot of my life.
Wow.
But I feel more balanced than I've ever been, because I'm choosing when to take the time. And I'm not popular sometimes for saying there's 7 days a week and there's 24 hours, but literally there are. So some people some people are better, like I need to have more free time. I need to, focus for 6 hours and free time. And I'm more important, for me it's the way I do it is, I've got those 7 days, make them count. I've got the year, make it all count. And I'm creating my balance by acknowledging, keep the lens on family and friends, keep the lens on my health. And I think COVID reawakened a lot of this for me. Certainly got a lot more into physical exercise again. Family's always been important to me. I feel blessed. I've got a wonderful wife who keeps me in check. Kids who keep me, I don't know, sane, insane. I don't know what the word is. And then, a challenge in my life from a work perspective now, because I don't think about work as leading to my retirement anymore. I sort of go, I think I know what I want to do. I know what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Love it, yeah.
And that's my balance.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone.
Sure.
The reciprocal of that is spend the time on what's important to you, but try not to neglect the other things.
Most definitely.
I have coached one or two individuals where they're just focusing on work. So the thing that I try to do automatically is, can it include other things?
Yeah.
And it's not even a question I need to ask, really. All of a sudden, they realize that the thing that they're missing and they want to really focus on is possibly friends and family.
Most definitely.
And so I think that's the harmony, the balance.
I think it comes with maturity. It does.
Yeah.
I think when I first started, I was very unbalanced. I was working late nights, weekends. It took 2 burnouts to realize I should have balance. And not saying everyone should go through a burnout, but it's one of those things that you get into a burnout and you're like, wow, actually this isn't good. You shouldn't be stressed that much, and things are going to be okay. So I think, just to add to you, balance for me is knowing that I'm going to try my best. I'm going to take breaks when I need to. If I feel tired, I'm going to take the day. And that's okay.
It is okay. And that's the lovely thing about, if we just looked at the balance in a week, that could be a Wednesday.
Your
100%. Team might not like you for it.
Sure.
Then, but in actual fact, that if you're not performing at your best, there are a lot of people that could,
and it does happen where I have to take a day, you know, and I need to just recalibrate because I'm in a bad mindset. Yeah. And I know my balance is tilting to the burnout side. Yeah. And I need to just get it back to where it is. Yeah. So just knowing those triggers, and this comes with maturity as well, understanding when you are, you know, at a point that you're imbalanced. And I think for me, a daily ritual that helps me with balance is walking with my dogs and my wife. That's the one thing that I do. If it's not raining, cats and dogs, I'm walking. Yeah. And walking for me is a beautiful way of thinking and being in nature and getting air.
I'm strangely enough exactly the same. People talk about having a lunch break, or if it's not raining, I'll always go for a walk.
Beautiful, yeah.
Normally I'm coming back walking a lot faster because I've had all the thoughts.
Yes, yeah.
And I almost 5 out of 6 days I must go for a walk.
Yeah.
Because it's actually the best work and thinking time that I have.
I've had some of my best ideas walking.
Yeah. So everyone, when they hear you going walking, they go, "Oh my God, he's going walking."
He's on the walkabout. Yeah. It's and I think, you know, if you can find that I would say it needs to be a bit physical if you can. Yeah. Because we're so on screen, we're always on the whole time. If you can find something that can give you some peace for an hour a day, half an hour a day, you should cherish it and use it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard, I had some coaching at the end of last year. A chap called Chad Willitson, who's on the west coast of the US. He does a lot of work with Dan Sullivan, who's, you know, heads up strategic coach globally, which is very much a focus, sort of 10x entrepreneurial coaching discipline. And he said something that, in actual fact, because he's very committed family man, 5 kids, but he said, to transform, you have to fail. It's quite brutal. And he said, so see that as sometimes you talk about maturity, balance and success go very hand in hand, but it can be a seesaw.
Yeah.
Don't let that get you down.
Sure.
See that as, and that's I mean, it's again a little bit off piece, but that positive mindset of, and I'm doing this more myself now, you cannot fail. I might have just failed at something, but I'm saying you cannot fail, being me, because in actual fact you've made progress. Yeah. Acknowledge that progress. And,
most definitely.
And take it forward.
Yeah, you can't fail if you never stop.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Yeah. Learn, adjust. It's like playing a video game. You can't not win if you just do the level again and again and again. Yeah. Beat that boss mode, make that bad decision, and you'll get to the next stage. Yeah. You'll always win. Yeah. It's so true.
I can see you had to give up gaming because
I still game a little bit there. It's about balance. Yeah. but my wife lets me know when I'm gaming too much. I love that. Balance and harmony. Yeah, it's one of the things that we need to work on. Yeah. It's an active work. Yeah. You know? Yeah. No. You have to actively work.
I think just, you know, never feel constrained in what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, you know, the word commitment comes up. It's a duty to ourselves to commit to things and to create the balance.
Most definitely.
But I've taken more solace in the fact that sometimes things are unbalanced. That's okay.
Yeah, and if it's for a short period of time, it's okay.
Yeah. But like you say, don't regularly be looking at the burnout syndrome.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I feel I've got more free time for the right things, because you can waste 6 hours a day. Right?
You can.
I mean, it's like doing very, very little. Yeah. Or you can actually do an incredible lot in an hour.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's balance.
Yeah.
So it's having that focus as well.
No, most definitely. I was reading this article on one of these CEOs, and he said that if he can make 2 to 3 big good decisions a year, that's him. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
And the whole year he's trying to find what those good decisions are. Not saying that we all have that privilege of just making 2 decisions a year, but to find the time to then find that right decision that you can make.
Yeah. Just something to complement that. I had a chat with the CEO about 6 months ago, and he was going into a new role, private equity backed business, and I said to him sort of like, "What's your approach to just because you want to everyone's different, right?" And he said, "My sphere of influence is 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the 6 people that were going to be his leadership team, which he would have inherited. And I found that's fascinating, right? So in an organization, let's have 30,000 people. What he was going to spend his time on in the first 6 months was those 6 people.
Yeah, love it.
And it goes back to balance for him. But if he could get that right, then he's got something that could be a great organization. And I actually find that quite inspiring.
Yeah, that's actually really good.